Tú, amigo, no das más que problemas.
¿Qué?
What are you doing?
Hey guys, and welcome to my Call of Duty review. Halloween might be over, but that doesn't mean that all the ghosts have gone. This is the 16th title in the Call of Duty military simulation franchise, as used by the Navy SEALs. The major changes are as follows. You have a puppy dog which was motion capped. If you are not aware of motion capping, it is when you take pictures of a person wearing ping pong balls on their legs and put it into the game. There is now advanced fish AI. All of the fish featured both on land and on sea will react realistically to your every movement. If you ever go near one, it will even swim away from you. This makes Call of Duty 16 even more immersive, and was definitely a better use of resources than adding an FOV slider or fixing the game-breaking bug at the end of the game. The last and most noticeable change are the graphics. Call of Duty uses Frostbite 6, the new engine from Treyarch, which makes destruction the most realistic of any game ever. Excuse me while I use the bathroom. All of these additions make Call of Duty 16 the best first-person shooter game in the world ever by none. And if you don't agree, then you are technically wrong. Thanks for watching and subscribing. In all seriousness, this is somewhat of a pointless exercise. I don't want to review Call of Duty Ghosts, I didn't even want to play it. The problem is, it's just Call of Duty. You know what that entails, I know what that entails, and the thought of dedicating 20 hours of my life to talking about it was like taking a spade to the side of the head. There were, all said and done, 3 things that piqued my interest as much as interest could be piqued when you're forced to do something. Mocapping a dog, superhuman intelligent fish, and graphics that actually are quite impressive in places. I know Call of Duty doesn't evolve, you know Call of Duty doesn't evolve, but there are some subtle things in Ghost that, in my opinion, make this the best Call of Duty campaign since Call of Duty 4. For instance, the dynamic is arguably pretty fresh. You don't find yourself slugging it through lines and lines of enemies for more than 30 minutes at a time, and the gimmicky extras they've thrown into this title range from tolerable to actually not that bad. There's no pretentious strategy elements and nothing we've not seen in other places, but shooting from helicopters, well spread out action sequences and other interactive deviations makes the dynamic of Ghost's campaign much better than few before it. The initial idea of motion capping a dog was retarded to me, since it sounded like a wonderfully American way to waste a shitload of money. I like dogs as much as the next person, but I don't like them enough to demand dog-like animations in the games I play. I'd rather pay $20 with a shit-looking dog than £60 with a well-animated dog and to cover enormous marketing overheads. That's sadly not an option, but the mocapped pooch was put to good use. Riley is an integral character in Ghosts, and in places that's not a good thing. Segments where you control Riley through some Japanese bark translation technology bullshit are tiresome and questionable. Why am I controlling a remote-controlled dog? It's as though the guys at Activision actually came up with the ideas using the idea ball.
Alright, here we go. Alright, Abrams, what do you got?
Someone nervously shot out, maybe the player's a dog, and some arsehole at the foot of the table promoted him to Chief Executive Idea Twat or something, I don't know. The point is that stealthing around as a puppy is dumb and annoying, and the checkpoints are far too far apart. Repeating scripting stuff because you didn't follow the arbitrary rules of scripting isn't fun. It will never be fun.
The rest of you are with me. Let's move out.
Aside from that, the hyped fish AI is actually quite impressive, although it really pains me to say that. It's impressive because Call of Duty Ghosts is largely a good-looking game. Anyone that says this isn't a good-looking game in places is probably blinded by hate. I'm not blinded by hate, I'm numb by it, and there's a crucial difference.
Just make sure to get those birds here. 6-2 out.
Things aren't exactly looking next-gen, but Activision have done a convincing job at pretending they are. Unfortunately, this led to a shitload of performance issues, to the point where all of the evolutions are completely undone by frame drops and graphical glitches, even on high-end machines. Both EA and Activision are guilty of playing the all-new engine card, and whilst faces and models genuinely look miles better than previous Call of Duty games, everything else looks just thrown in or pasted on, which inevitably leads to poor performance. This is not a well-optimized game, but then you probably didn't expect it to be. You might say I'm being a little harsh, but Ghost is not the first sequel where Activision didn't learn from their mistakes. In actual fact, they've ignored what players have been saying for so long that it's gotten to the point where it's a blatant fuck you. Fuck you, you don't get an FOV slider, fuck you, the PC port comes last, and fuck you, the campaign will never be longer than 5 hours long. Although, in fairness, this is easily the longest COD campaign since I can remember.
Nothing and no one gets through. And no one gets out either. Everyone else, we're moving left to infill and then to black zone.
That really does cover anything worth talking about here. I noticed some increase in recoil, which gave the weapons slightly more authenticity, and clearly Activision have tried to outdo Frostbite in some of the mass destruction scenes. And you know what? I troll you not, they have succeeded. To me, many of the action sequences with destruction were much more impressive than in the Battlefield 4 campaign. They just were. I'm not saying it's a better engine, since Frostbite creates organic physics-based damage and in COD it's all scripted, but for the single-player experience, COD won in the action sequences department, which is embarrassing since Frostbite works much better in single-player than it does in multiplayer.
Keep running, we can get through this! Through that house! We got a job!
As for story, you'll need to try and make sense of the intro cutscenes, but in short, South America went to space, hijacked a space cannon called Odin, and now everyone lives in a walled-off America constantly under siege by Mexico or something. I don't know, I don't care, and nor do you.
Copy, Mosley. Odin targeting on payloads 3 and 4 have been aborted. But payload 2 is still sequencing.
The most astounding thing about all this to me is that of the two major MMS titles this year, both of them feature running across an aircraft character deck as shit explodes around you. How can the only two major MMS of this year feature almost exactly the same action sequence? Why would they do that? It's like no one even cares about anything anymore. I have to go, I'm literally too depressed now.
Multiple runners, port side, sending assistance.